Right, welcome to WordPress for Educators, where educators go to learn WordPress. So we have so far gotten pretty far into our website. We have our logo, we have our name, we have position, and maybe even the school that we're working at. And we have our menu, which links to all of our different pages. So we have finished our About page. We finished our contact page in the last video. And now we're ready to tackle the CV. So obviously what you want to do is you want to have something personal about yourself. You want to have a way to contact you. And you also want to show what you've done. An online CV is a perfect way to complement your personal website. This could also be a resume. I'm thinking specifically for educators, but if you're watching this and you're in a different industry other than education and you want to create a personal profile for yourself and you're a professional, you could put a resume. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a CV, although we're focused in on how to help educators to put their information online so that people can reach out to them, connect with them, not only for work, but for projects, or just generally to talk to them because they're in the same field or studying the same things. So we are going to focus in on the CV, but just know that this could also be a resume. So what we do is we're going to go to our pages. Again, we just click pages or all pages. And we have our CV already created, so let's just click on that to edit it. And this was the text that we had added before. This is our CV, isn't it awesome? It's obviously going to be better than that. What I've done is I have already created a sample CV. Now this may be too extensive for your particular needs, but I thought I would make it fully realized so that you could see just kind of best practices about creating an online CV. This would also, I believe, fit with an offline CV that you were using for print as well. So I'm just going to paste that in. And, sorry, let's paste it. And then we're just going to kind of go through the different sections here. Now what I've done is I have taken this from Dr. Karen's Rules of the Academic CV. A very extensive post written in 2012 from the professorisin.com, which many people know about, very popular. And she basically goes through top to bottom, excuse me, top to bottom, what are the different things, the different parts of the CV, how should it look, how should it be formatted. So if this is something that you would be interested in, you can find it at theprofessorisin.com. And then 2012, January 12th, Dr. Karen's Rules of the Academic CV. I think if you just Googled Rules of the Academic CV or Dr. Karen Rules of the CV, you would get right to it. You can see it's obviously a very popular piece of information, been shared a lot, and it was very helpful in me putting together the CV that you see on this page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this. Now I'm just going to walk through the different sections with you and show you how you can recreate this. So let's just refresh. If you wanted to spell this out and have the entire curriculum vitae term, you could do that as well. CV is probably okay. You could do online CV, you could do the full name. It's kind of a choice up to you. If people are coming here, they know you are a professor, then they see CV, they know what that's going to mean. All right, so Dr. Karen says first, start out with obviously your contact information, your introductory information. This is where you are, your phone number, your email. I don't see a point in putting your name back up here because you have your name here. And again, we've chosen a theme where your personal information, like your very personal information, like your name and your position and what you look like, are always right there in front of people's faces. So I wouldn't necessarily put your name up here, although you could. But you have your address, your phone, your email. This can be a live link. Different people feel differently about those types of things. If a spammer comes along, they can actually go over your site with a software program that can pull that email address out, and then they can spam you. It might be annoying, but it's probably not going to be harmful to you. So if you would prefer not to have a link, then you could just either not put it on there and just have your email address like this, where it's not clickable as a link. Or if you don't mind and it's your school address and it's not such a big deal, then you could add a text link. When you do that over an email address, WordPress actually reads it, and you can see that they just inserted the correct format into your email address. So when someone clicks on this and it says mail to and their email address, it'll open whatever their email client is. For a lot of people, especially at work, it's going to be Outlook or something like that. On your phone, maybe it'll be whatever your email client is on your phone or your tablet. And it'll just open that right up, insert your email address, and then you can type. So it's pretty handy dandy. And you just click apply, and then that will be there. Excuse me. Okay, so that's how you add this link here. Next, Dr. Karen says, let's see. Okay, so we're in the content section. Pardon me. She says education is next. Always, no exceptions. List by degree, not by institution. And then she gives you some kind of formatting things here. So I've adapted it this way. So I have my PhD, I have my MS, and I have my BA. So I have a different, these are just made up types of things. But you would just lay it out like this with your education. Next would come your experience. And your experience, Dr. Karen says, is your professional appointments or professional appointments, or employment. And they go immediately under the education, assuming that you've had any. And she explains a little bit why, because it's to place you institutionally. Where are you? It's important to note that these are contract positions only, either tenure track or their instructorships, and this would be for professors. If you were teaching at a middle school or a high school, or even an elementary school, I think you would be okay to just list your position, what your school is, what you teach, that type of things. And then you have the dates that you've been teaching in that place. Next would be for professors, publications. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, publications, any publications you've had, and then where people might be able to find that online. You can see it's the title of the article, what's the name of the journal, or what's the name of the website that it was found on, and then when was it published, and then a link to that publication. Now right here, just a formatting thing that I'm seeing, you can see that this is bigger than this. Now this looks like just regular plain paragraph text, right? But this looks bigger, like a heading. So how did I do that? In WordPress, if you click on this here, it says toolbar toggle, and it gives you actually some extra options down here. So you can make that hidden or not. These are just regular bold, italic, bulleted lists, and things like that, making a quote. But if you wanted some extra types of things down here that you can add, you can change the text color, or you can insert special characters if you wanted to. Whenever you highlight something, and right now it says paragraph, which is just regular text, okay? So it's just the regular size text. If I want to give it some sort of heading, in HTML, which is the language of the web, heading 1 is the largest heading. Heading 2, and they show you graphically how they resize. Heading 2, second largest, heading 3, third largest, etc. And so they go all the way down. These headings, 5 and 6, are going to be all capitalized. And these headings are just going to get bigger as you go, but they're not capitalized. They're only initial caps. So if you wanted to click and make this an H1, you can say that it does that. It makes it very large. And if we update it, we're going to be able to see this become very large. So that turns it into a heading 1. Heading 1s are typically reserved on the web for very top level, very important information like the either the page title or the title of the website. And then just like whenever you're writing an essay or you're writing a technical paper, your headings your headings and subheadings should follow through the page. But that's how you create them. So you need this little toggle here and drop it down. You would highlight whatever you want to change, and then you choose the preferred heading. So for whatever you're doing. Right now I have these as heading 2. That's my personal preference. I could do heading 1, but I feel like heading 2 gives it a nice flow. Let's see. Let's update that and get it back to a paragraph text. There we go. I feel like it gives it a nice flow. If I want to bold something, it doesn't compete too much with those. And it also doesn't overwhelm the viewer if you have like the big H1 text. So I like H2 for in-page headings. And then if you wanted to do something else that was underneath that, another section, then maybe use an H3 or an H4, just kind of whatever feels good to you. There's no real rules on that. There are certain things that you can do if you want to bold. All you have to do is highlight and click bold or unbold. These are some stylistic things that you can do. Obviously, when you're following Dr. Karen's rules, then she is saying this section, this section, this section, and there are some particular rules within the formatting of each of the sections, but because you're not writing a CV for print to hand into someone, it can be a bit more stylized, I believe, for the web. But following these general CV rules is going to help you put together something that looks similar to your CV. And obviously standardization of the CV is good for everybody because it allows people to go through it and understand what you have and what you're doing. Next, we have awards and honors, and then we have grants and fellowships, maybe anything that you've received. Any invited talks. So I've actually pulled this from a real professor's CV online, so if that professor finds it, and thank you for letting me use your stuff. You followed the guidelines, excuse me, almost to the T, which is awesome. And we have invited talks. This is the talk, and this would be when and where you were able to give that talk. Any conferences that maybe, excuse me, any conferences maybe you've spoken at. If there are campus or departmental talks, and then your teaching experience. And Dr. Karen gives you some different types of rules and things like that. Here's an addendum to the way that you should format. Never give course numbers, but you could give course titles. I have not given any course numbers or anything. That doesn't seem relevant to anyone, except for the people at the college where you work, because it may change across colleges or universities or schools. And so you have so you have these different things here. These would be the courses that you taught and when. And then any research experience that you have. These might be projects, or let's see what she says, lab experience or research experience here. She says you can elaborate a little bit, but not too much. So you just want to keep it kind of short and sweet. And then you get into more localized. So she explains why you should go through the CV this way if you read through everything here. So service to the profession, extracurricular university service or school service, and then out to the community. So what kind of involvement have you had in the community? Is there media coverage of something that you've done or some work that you've produced? You could link to that here. And again, these are just text links that go to, they would go outside off of your website, so you would want to make sure that they open to a new page or a tab. What are your teaching interests? What languages do you speak? And then what is your level? And she actually has quite a few levels here, listed vertically with proficients, demonstrating using terms of native, fluent, excellent, conversational, good, can read with dictionary. So she gives you some ideas on how to do that. Do you have any professional memberships? And then last, what are the references? So if you have any academic references that you are using, then you could put a link to that person's webpage. Excuse me. For instance, you could click and go right to this person's page at harvard.edu, which would be a great thing. Or if they have their own personal page, they wouldn't mind you linking to it. Give their phone number, the email address, and then their address in that order. And then lastly, I have changed this part, but I didn't want that to be quite so big, I don't think. I just wanted to make that a paragraph, really. Just as a note, I wanted it to just kind of be a footnote down here that the CV format follows Dr. Karen's, rules of the academic CV. So maybe this would be helpful to you or helpful to people, or show some sort of expertise on your part, that you know what's going on in the academic world and that you understand that there are certain standards. You could leave this off, or you could put that there. When you click on it, it links directly to Dr. Karen's rules of the academic CV, and I will put that link into the notes for this particular video, so that you can have that and link to it yourself and be able to see it and put together your CV. Now, one thing you might want to do down here as well is maybe you want to link to an actual PDF. So let's say you have your CV in online form, but you also want to link to a PDF copy of your CV, so that if someone wanted to download that and have it for themselves and print it, then they could. So you would do something, just a simple download link like this. Download CV as PDF. Okay, so this is our text, and we'll just highlight our text. And then what we need to do is to insert a link, except the problem is we don't have anything to link to. We can only link to pages, and we can only link to external files right now. So it's a little bit premature to actually set the link. So what we want to do is add media first, and then we want to upload files. And remember, we can upload PDF files or document files. So we're just going to select, I'm just going to select my resume as a PDF. I'm going to upload that. And you can see here that it gets a different icon. Normally we can see the picture. And now we see the icon, we see the file name. You can see that it links to the media file. And that's exactly what we want. We want it to link to the actual file itself. And we'll insert that into the page. And we don't really need to insert it in the page, as I guess. We can just copy this, click Insert Link, and then let me see if we can we get to it through here? We can't do that. So let's take a different tact. I will show you something new in WordPress that we haven't really covered, and that's the media library. So if I'm going to right click so that I can keep this page open so I can keep editing it. I'm going to open the media in a new tab. And this is exactly what we've been working with in the post and pages. It's just in its own little section under media. We can add new things into our media through this, or we can add new media this way. There are many different ways to get to the same thing in WordPress. So if we click on our resume that we just uploaded, it gives us the details of this. And so if we click on URL, and we look at this is the full URL of where this file is located. You can see it. So if we click it all, and we do copy, and we go back to our download CV as PDF, we can just highlight that. We can insert the link, and then we can paste the link to the file that we just uploaded. And I'll show you how this works in real time as we do this. So you click apply, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to open in a new page. So I'm actually going to edit that and go to the link options, and I'm going to open link in a new tab. I'm going to update, and then when I update the page, let's go back to our CV. All right, we have our new download as CV as PDF link, and when we click on it, you can see this is the URL that we had before from where we uploaded our resume into the media library. And then we went and we grabbed the URL and we put that URL in here. So this is actually my PDF resume. And now someone can go back between the page they just clicked and my resume, or they can print it. So they have access to your resume as a PDF. I would probably place that at the end, although you could certainly put it at the top. This is just meant to be an online version of your CV. And then if they did need to get or to grab an offline version, you could do that. Or you could send someone to this page and say, scroll down to the bottom, there's a link to a PDF copy. Or you could, if you needed to print one and you were without your computer, this is all online. So you would be able to just go to any computer anywhere in the world, download this and print it, and you would be good to go. You would have your CV with you. So that is creating a CV online for your personal profile page. So now we have our personal information, we have our about page, we have our CV, we have our contact form, and this website is looking really good. I'm going to show you some further customization things that you can do in the customize menu to change colors, change fonts, and to get the information that we put in looking maybe a little bit more presentable or a little bit more toward your personality. If you have any questions, please send me a tweet at Brian Haferkamp, BrianHaferkamp, or you can email me at brian@hi